Hello, welcome back to Collector Creations. In this Anatomy of a Blu-ray, where I review Blu-rays, we're looking at Exorcist II, the Heretic, the Blu-ray you probably haven't bought. Let's be honest, I don't know anyone I know a few people who have, but not for the reason of liking the movie. Let's put it that way. I wanted to dive into this. This is a very interesting release for me. I know that it's Arrow Video. It's a pretty, very popular, very well-known boutique label, but I wanted to dive into it, give you my thoughts on the film, and give you my thoughts on the video, the audio, the special features, and the whole kit and caboodle. So let's take a look at the packaging to get that over and done with. We have brand new artwork done by a friend, and I don't even know if he is a fan of the channel. I should ask him one day. We got newly commissioned artwork by Peter Savieri. There you go. Nicely done. Love it, Peter. Good. Proud of my friends for getting on boutique labels. Good for them. But no, it's actually nice artwork. It's nice to actually understand what the hell it means now, because I've seen the film. It's simplistic, but also nicely detailed, and I love it. It's a really surprisingly good representation of what the movie is. Then we have, of course, the original artwork, the original 1977 Heretic artwork, and all the details on the back. You can, of course, still use it as reversible artwork. You get a disc, which comes with the international cut of the film and the bulk of the special features, and the international cut, which is like 20 minutes shorter, and comes with its own unique commentary track. And of course, there is reversible artwork to showcase the artwork on the slipcover. You do, of course, get a booklet. This is a very standard, Arrow Video thing, but there's a lot more meaning to it, at least for me personally. For some people who would be watching this video, will have that personal touch that they care more for. So it does come with a booklet. This is interesting artwork to kind of emphasize, like, Pazuzu as this kind of cricket-like creature. Interesting. I like it. I kind of dig it. Some nice artwork to kind of emphasize just the kind of visual language that this film has, because it's got it's a very detailed visual film. Narrative, on the other hand, questionably. So of course you get your photos. You get an essay by Glenn Kenny. You get an essay by Glenn Kenny, one by Alexandra Helen Nicholas, one by Matt Rogerson, and photography of Exorcist II, the Heretic, by American cinematographer, August 1977, and of course the production credits and whatnot. Your general gist, your crew, your everything, get some artwork, get some photos, stills from the movie, and all that jazz. It's nice. It's a very simple, easy book to go through. The notable part of the book, outside of all the well-constructed essays, is the special thanks section, because it has a dedication to Lee Gambin, because he did a commentary on this, and it was the last thing he did in partnership with Arrow Video. To my knowledge, it's the last commentary he worked on, because he only had posted about it without obviously saying what the film was, because you can't say what the film is until it's been officially announced. He had posted about it 2 days prior to his passing. So, of course, there is a special commemorative note at the bottom talking about it. So if you would like to read it, feel free to pause it and read it. I'll read it out loud. I did do an unboxing previously in a mail video, but I figured I'll just do it here as well. So it does say, this release is dedicated to the memory of Lee Gambin, one of a kind film critic and historian who died while this disc was in production. A regular contributor to Arrow Video and many other labels around the world, his anarchic joy, deep knowledge, and passion for cinema were second to none and utterly infectious. His passing leaves a huge hole in the lives of all who knew him. You are stunning, dust. It is a really nice contribution. It's good. I really respect that from them. There's nothing on the disc to emphasize this, but I don't really mind, because I know that Kino Lorber has done releases, whether it be re-releases that have his commentary or new releases with his commentaries that have an on-screen dedication to Lee. So this is really nice, really nicely worded and everything from Arrow. So I really respect that, and that is the reason I got this release. So let's talk about it. For noteworthy sake, of course, on the back it does detail all the limited edition features, including what's on disc 1 and disc 2. There is actually 4 different commentary tracks. You have the new commentary by Lee Gambon, and of course filmmaker David Kittredge, who is the director of the forthcoming feature-length Exorcist II documentary, Heretics. That one's posed more... It's kind of a question and answer in a way, but realistically, from Lee's experience of moderating a lot of different commentaries where he'll have someone be the main person, he'll just ask them questions, but he'll also, like, converse with them as well. That's kind of what this is. It's not stipulated as moderated because it's clearly they've both got their research where David is clearly very knowledgeable about the film because he's done a whole entire documentary about it, but Lee, of course, inquires about certain details, and it's nice because it opens up with the two of them talking about, like, their relationship with the film, as well as diving into a lot of elements of the technical side of the film. The amount of times, like, David would just pause their chat and just talk about what's happening on screen and how many visual layers they have to this film. As someone watching the film who had just seen it earlier, I'd never seen it before until yesterday when I watched it, which I, of course, double featured it with the commentary track. It helps to highlight the technical craft of the film, and I really respect that about it. Like, that's great. Obviously, yeah, there's a lot of issues with the movie, but at least on a technical scale, it's really, really detailed and really well done. So I like that they highlight that, and they have some great contributions to what they talk about some of the cast and some of the casting and some of the actors and the director outside of that. So I think it's a really nice commentary. It's just so nicely technically detailed. I really like that about it. But a lot of the times it does feel like, because I was obviously wanting to listen to it because of Lee, but it very much seems like he backs himself away to allow David to talk about the film and everything, which I think it's... At first I was like, oh, I'm not here for David. Shut up, David. But, of course, as it went along, I realized that's kind of how they're playing at, and I kind of like that. Like, they will jump between topics, they will jump back and forth in conversation. They'll talk about one thing, end up talking about another thing that's in the movie, and then go back to what they were talking about earlier. So I like how they cover all bases and stuff, and Lee's clearly done a bunch of research about the film. He has experience with meeting Linda Blair, so there's a lot of personal touches that I really liked about it. There is another new audio commentary by screenwriter and author Kelly Goodner and film historian Jim Hemphill. I did not listen to that yet. But there's also 2 more commentaries. There are 4. It's crazy. There's 2 archival ones. One with director John Borman and one with special consultant Scott Michael Bosco. So I haven't listened to them either, but I probably will eventually listen to the other film historian one, and definitely listen to the one with the director. That would be really interesting. I'd like to know what people think of the one by the special consultant, because I don't know who he is, so it would be nice to kind of get an idea before I go into it, obviously. We'll just dive into the special features to begin with, because that's the most important part to me. The rest of the special features, there is a new video essay, as well as an archival interview with Linda Blair, which is actually from the Scream Factory release, and a archival interview with editor Tom Priestley. The interview with Priestley is about 6 minutes long. It's nicely detailed in a way, but again, it's pretty short. It's just, if you want to kind of listen to it, you can. I don't know, I didn't take much away from it. Usually I like to see these special features and actually take something away from the film, but I think in this case it was just a factor of that he'd worked with Borman before, and it was kind of how much of a roller coaster ride it was to actually edit this film. The interview with Linda Blair, if you've seen the Scream Factory release, you know it's a great interview. It's 20 minutes long. It captures her whole entire conversation with them about her thoughts on the film, the making of the film, her thoughts now on the film. It's good. I like how she looks in retrospect at the film. Like, it's not just oh, this is a disgusting part of my career. It's like, it's nice that she actually goes out of her way to talk about this kind of stuff, and I really admire that about an actress like her, because for a film that's so despised, to the point that, it killed the Exorcist series for 12 years, which is 77, 13 years, not to mention she didn't return to the Exorcist films until, I believe, the latest one with Believer, which I'm not going to watch, but she's in it apparently. They must have paid her a lot for a cameo or something. Who cares? But good for her. The video essay is 12 minutes long and breaks down the themes of the film and how it all connects. This highlights the strongest elements of the film in what I would see as an otherwise weak film, but the elements that they talk about are what I found to be the most interesting parts of the film. So I did really like that easy 12-minute breakdown. If you wanted an easy summation of all of it, it's there in 12 minutes, and I really like that. So it just makes it just an easier way to kind of knuckle it in, just in case the rest of the films kind of confuse you a little. It's like, what the hell's going on? At least this it's a good summation. What a word, summation. Anyway, that's it for the special features, but of course, picture and audio we still have. For the picture, it looks nice. It is a 2K scan. This is the 118-minute long original premiere version that I watched. I did not take a look at the international version. To my knowledge, it's probably the same version that Scream Factory has. I don't know, but I imagine it is because, well, in this case, there's no restoration from Arrow Video itself, which I imagine if they had have done a restoration, it probably would have been a 4K scan, especially because they've done Exorcist III on 4K and recently released that on a UHD disc as well, but also so did Scream Factory, so I do kind of wonder to a degree as to, did Scream Factory just do all the restorations for both films, and then Arrow were like, oh, we'll just buy it off you, we'll port it over, it's fine. You know, so just an easy way for them to release it in the UK market, because this is Region B. However, I might be all regions. No, it wasn't. It was region locked to Region B. I tried it on my all region player because the audio wasn't working at first. A Blu-ray issue problem, not to do with the disc. And yeah, it was region locked to Region B. So that's worth noting if you're in the US. But the scan does look nice. There wasn't any issues with the picture. I didn't notice any deep problems with spots or dents or grain or a high amount of contrast or anything. It all looked really nice. Obviously, yeah, sure, the film would still benefit from a 4K scan. There's a lot of great detail in it visually that would be great to showcase in a 4K scan or a UHD. But I think at the same time, they probably also looked at it who's gonna buy this film? Realistically, who really wants... outside of maybe some diehard fans, who's really gonna get it? And I'd only ever heard bad things, so I didn't want to get it. But then, of course, because I sort of had Lee's commentary, I'm like, I have to get it. Obviously, because I'm collecting as many works as I can that Lee had worked on. So, yeah, that's the only reason I have this release. I mean, now I have the whole trilogy. That's nice. And I have Arrow's original release for Exorcist III, so that's good. I haven't done the 4K UHD because I don't really care to get the UHD, but at the same time, it's nice to have this in its own way. Anyway, the audio track, it sounded nice. It did sound a bit quiet because it is a mono 1.0 track, which is really, really funny to me because, again, it really shows that, outside of the fact that, yeah, great cleanup job, there's no issues on a technical scale, there's no, pops or cracks or anything. I had no issues with the picture or audio, but it's very clear that it's just from Scream Factory and that they just haven't bothered to, go into detail and actually doing anything more to the audio track, which... Again, I also still feel it's just we can license it and let's just not spend any money on actually working on the video and audio because it looks and sounds fine, but no one's really going to pay a lot for this. So at least if we're really banking on the special features and the new artwork, which I think that they did a great job of all three with the commentaries, with the booklet, and with the artwork, that's the main feature of this. Of course, you're probably wondering, what were my thoughts on the film? I gave the film 2 stars. I wasn't out of 5. Wasn't huge on it. Again, for me, it's still a constantly interesting film. It's just that once you get about halfway in, it starts to it feels like it loses too much focus and then retreats into just recapturing what they did in the first film. And I wasn't huge on that. I really like the first act. I think it's interestingly structured. I like the characters. And I even like the performances. Linda Blair is really interesting in the film. There's some great actors in the film. Even, what's his name? Richard Burton is... Well, from listening to the commentary, sleepwalks through the film, but I just liked seeing him in a movie, because I don't know if I've actually seen him in any films before, but I'm used to his voice from the War of the Worlds record, and I love that fucking record. So, hearing him just talking was enough to be like, I like this guy's great. The other cast, they're pretty good too. Linda Blair is great. Visually, it's a really beautiful looking film. there's so many, again, listening to the commentary with Lee and David, it just goes to show that there's a lot of stuff put into this film on a visual scale, and I appreciate it for that. The technical craft that they captured to do all these in-camera tricks, all these practical effects, the miniatures, the stop motion, all these little elements that build the whole thing together is great. It's just that the story is not that great. And of course, if you're coming into it as a sequel to the, scariest film of all time, then yeah, you're expecting another scariest film of all time. And this isn't really a horror film. It's kind of like an adventure fantasy in a way. It's got more to do with like psychology and just, I don't know, kind of dream walking in a way. There's some nice, interesting elements, like how they have special needs kids in it. One of the characters is autistic, which is really interesting for representation, especially in a film like The Exorcist. But yeah, I definitely see that a lot of people wanted what was in the first film, either a complete recycle of the first film or something completely different. But this is like the something completely different that nobody wanted. I mean, even Linda Blair in the interview emphasized how the original script was vastly different to the product that they finished with, and she doesn't like the product that they finished with. Most people don't like the product that they finished with. Clearly David and Lee did, and maybe the other people who worked on the other commentaries also had some kind of respect for the film. But yeah, I'm not exactly torn on the nature. Like, if Lee was around and I was talking to him about it, he would talk so high heavens about this movie, and I know he would. And it's also one of those things of, I've been in situations with him before where he's praising a film like There's No Tomorrow, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't like it that much, but I appreciate your passion for it. So I appreciate the passion that's been put into this release, even though the video and audio doesn't reflect that as much, but at the same time, the video and audio is still fine. It could have used a stereo or 5.1 track. That would have been nice. But the 2K scan works fine. But credit where credit is due. The artwork is good. The booklet is nice, and the commentaries and overall special features are really good. So if you're wanting it for that exclusivity, go for it. If you're in the UK or in Australia, a Region B country, then this is the release to get. But yeah, so if you're not a huge Exorcist fan, wait for a sale. But if you're not a huge Exorcist II fan in general, then obviously you don't want to get this film. So, I'm not exactly trying to preach to a choir here. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to watch other videos I've done. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.